Well, everyone, here's a little bit of excitement for us. We are almost to March now, and we are going to be having a March baby born. This girl here, this is Clover, and she was in with those yearling bulls in the summer, and they got to her, and they got to Duchess, and both of them have been displaying a bit of an udder development. But today, she's about 2/3 bigger than she was 2 days ago. So I had kind of wondered even if she was pregnant at all, but her side was bulging out. And because she's on the smaller size, because of her age and because of her mom being a smaller cow, this is her mom here. And her mom was also shorter in stature and slightly smaller than Flower. So she has a different father bloodline than Duchess. So it would have been her grandfather. So this girl is just about ready. She doesn't have any mucus coming out of her, which is a sign of impending labor, or if they're laying down and getting back up, being listless, or if like their birthing area is larger. So the technical name is called the vulva, where the baby comes out. So if she's starting to dilate, you're going to notice some differences in her behavior. A lot of times they'll go off on their own and show little interest in her food, and she got up just fine and ate. Now Duchess did not want to get up and eat yesterday, but I noticed her udder, this is Duchess here in the middle, is uneven and it's not firmed right up, where Clover, hers is so bagged up, they call it, that her teats are actually pointing in kind of opposite directions with the expansion of her udder. So you can see with this one, this is Duchess there, her front teats are pointing forward, but the back ones aren't as firmed and filled up. So I think it can take up to 2 weeks, but as fast and unexpected as Clover has bagged up, it could be 2 to 3 days. So hopefully we have a steer to deliver to the meat processor, and we had just separated Chocolate in with them for separating the for sale steers out for delivery, because he really likes to get around them, and we've been doing our own home butchering. So when we are done making our delivery, I had thought we could move her to the barn by putting her in the cattle trailer, or we could just pull the cattle trailer right into these double gates and park it sideways here and leave the door open for her for a shelter. Now, there's only about an 8 to 12 inch step up. They're not crazy about it, but she may use it. I've got a calf coat on the ready, and we have calf bottles if we need them. So we may be doing some home milking coming up, depending on how it goes. But with Chocolate in here, I can't do any milking. I have to be able to lead him out. He's just not trustworthy that way. We've had him since he was a calf, but he gets kind of aggressive, and you know, it's not worth any risk. I don't want to be out here getting stomped to death by a bull. That's not worth saving $5 on milk. It's the pleasure of milking a cow. It's just one of the best pleasures ever. So I kind of had noticed that Clover is still milking Duchess, but it doesn't look like, or I'm sorry, Flower is still milking Duchess, but it doesn't look like Clover is taking milk from her mom anymore. But they've grown really well. His mom's been gone for about a year now, and he's just slightly smaller. I'm sorry. He's over there. They're switching spots on me and I didn't notice. Their colors are so similar. She's got a little more weight on her. So Diesel has been off of his mom for a year, and he's just slightly smaller, you can see. But he had that small mom. His mom was Daisy. So I'll let you know what happens with some babies here, but I'm keeping an eye on them. I'm just sitting here watching them eat. It's just a nice thing to do. Things get so rushed sometimes that it's nice to go back in the heat. And you can see they're a bit muddy and stuff. It's just been terrible weather. We had some wet snow this morning, and it was all icy the last 2 days, so I haven't been spending a whole lot of time out here. But see, this is Duchess's backside, and you can see her right side is much bigger than the left, but it's hanging down like 6 or 8 inches further than she was before. But her mom, I've actually milked her mom. She's got a good udder for milking. Hey girl, hey there. Yeah. So we'll just see how it all goes. Okay, so there is definitely a baby coming, and it could be a couple hours, it could be more than that, but I'm guessing it is roughly 5 o'clock at night. I think we're gonna probably have a baby by at least by midnight for sure. Usually when they're in labor at this point, it can be a couple hours to an 8-hour day. So I've been kind of getting things ready for her, and she does not want to come out of the pen. And Chocolate, our big bull, is in the pen with her, and he is about 6 years old. So he's very, very large, and he kind of huffs and makes his bull noises, and he kind of can sense things are going on. So let me show you what I've got going. So I got out her calf blanket, and this is a calf blanket that we picked up from Valley Vet Supplies, and I can put a link to it down in the description for you. This is made by UtterTech, and this has nylon on the outside and inside with a layer of 3M insulation, and it just snaps up around the calf's chest right here at the belly in 2 different spots and behind the back legs. And then you can adjust it with these straps. Now, in an emergency, you can take anything you have in the house, and if you can run to Walmart, they have sewing supplies. You can pick up Velcro and get this put together. I make homemade diapers for my babies, and our very first one of these was homemade from a moving blanket, and a moving blanket is about $5 at Tractor Supply or even Harbor Freight. So for us, there is a Tractor Supply right by a Walmart. You can run in and get Velcro. You can pick up a moving blanket. You can pick up other heavy duty material. You could pick up this nylon and the strapping and everything right at the sewing department. You could pick up all the supplies right at Joann Fabrics if you're close to one. So this is her. I came out to feed them their dinner, and it's been about 2.5 hours since I was out here last. And I had been feeding them for a couple of days right up there. We've had a lot of wind and ice, so all of the cows were wanting to stay together, the steers and the bulls. She was over here all on her own. So I threw out a bale of hay here, and of course everyone decided to come and join her. So here she is here laying down. She's back at it, and I noticed that she's starting to get some mucus discharge, and I don't know if you can see it right now, but she definitely has enlarged vulval regions. And this is a good homeschooling education event. If you have homeschooling or farm kids that you want to discuss this with. But she actually just had some liquid coming out, and it could be pee, it could be her water breaking, but she was actually standing over here pushing, and she's pushing right now. So this baby event could be minutes away. She is trying, and she wasn't laying down before. So to warn you, sometimes when this happens, there's poop that can come out if you've never seen childbirth happen. She's really working at it, and the indicator was she was standing up and pushing, and it's been, see, she's rolling over on her side, getting more comfortable. And I hate to tell you this, but my battery is low. I don't know how much I'm going to get here. I'm going to have to run to the house and grab a camera. But she's ready to go. And everyone, of course, is coming around her to see what's going on. So I'm going to run the baby calf back into the house so that I can have it warm. If she could get to the barn at this point, you could set up heat lamps and straw bales and hay bales. She kind of caught me on surprise. She was not bagged up yesterday at all. So, super exciting. We're going to have a baby before dark, I think.
Yes. Okay. But we're going to have to leave this until you start this. Right?
What is her mom's name? What's Clover's mom's name? Oh, Dolly. See how she's standing with her back legs kind of apart and she's got the liquid coming out of her?
Let me see. Oh, yeah.
That's the fluid that's around the baby in her tummy.
Okay.
See, so leave her alone. So I think I literally have the best seat to the best show in town. A live birth of a calf. Although not the most ideal situation, it's going to happen. Teenage cows, teenage girls, unplanned pregnancies. It happens. This is the natural way of things in an open range environment. And even though we had them separated because the bulls were bullying our baby bulls, they did get to the girls and get them bred. So you can see she's being a little more off to her own. She originally was over here on her own, and I can tell she had been laying down because she had snow on her belly and the snow was disturbed. I had been feeding them over there for about the last 3 weeks, and because of the cold weather, was feeding them up here by the water in the fence because they weren't wanting to walk through the frozen. Okay, the battery on the camera died. Nothing was charged up ready to go for this event. So I ran and pulled this off of the charger. Had a little while. But anyways, this is a great thing to see. Oh, look at her. She's already spent. You got work to do, girl. Lots more work to do. I know you can do it, little girl. Yeah, you're going to be a mommy. That's right. So her mom is Dolly. And Dolly's mom was Daisy. And Daisy's mom is Flower. But Daisy's dad was not Chocolate. We had a auction herd of bulls when Flower was about 1.5 years or 2 years old. And we just got a Holstein cow. So for her dad is Chocolate, but it's likely that the yearling bulls is the father to this calf that's about to be born. Okay, that phone battery hadn't had ample time to charge up, but can you see that? She's pushed the hoofs out, and since my husband got home, it's probably been like 15 minutes. She's coming along. Now, if you have to, you can use a calf puller or a rope and help her to pull out on a contraction. Now, see, she's pushing real hard. When she stops pushing, she sits right up and kind of looks around and sees what's going on. You're doing real good. Now, she's never been like a farm pet for us. She's always been in the pasture here since she's been born, so she has not had halter leading and petting and grooming and things. So this is just nature on its own. Yeah. So I'm in the pen right now. He was just reminding me to keep an eye on Chocolate. You can see right here we strung 2 lines of electric wire that we use when we're moving the animals around, going from the electric post over there. Right now we don't have it on the fence as a jumper because they're a little long, but we can keep her here for days in this area to give her space on her own and run that to the electric instead of just on the woven wire. Ideally, we could hook them right here. These insulators ended up not working out for us the way that we had wanted to, but he could hook them up there with a jumper wire, and that would be fine. Good girl. So I have to not be too close to that area in case I have to get back over the fence quick, which isn't easy because the gate's the easiest thing to climb. It's a lot stronger than the woven wire, but I've got 2 strands of electric right here, and they're off, but he just told me don't jump the middle of the fence. Climb it by the hangers. Good girl. Good girl. Good strong push. She's doing little tiny pushes. So if you're not familiar with our family and our background, I have 6 children. They're all mine, and I gave them all natural birth. So this is very exciting for me because it's just like me having a baby, only I don't have to go through all the pain. That's why I have a smile on my face. I actually found a candy bar in my pocket from my trip to the store the other day, and I was snacking on that. But I have bottle-fed babies that have been born on the farm. I have had piglets born on the farm that we have artificially inseminated. We used to have a boar at the farm, and I found that it was really easy to just do the artificial insemination. We've never done that with the cows, and it's something that we might look into in the future to get another genetic line going here so that we're not doing inline breeding or inbreeding. In farm terms, it's called inline breeding because the stronger genetics take over with inline breeding, and you want the best. But a bad genetic can be amplified also. So you want to do the best. I have to switch the camera view. You're doing good. Keep headed. So right now her feet have been born more. That's her face, start of her face. Her tongue is out. I was a little concerned because of her tongue being out of her mouth, but she's moving and twitching every now and then. Well, I don't know if it's a she or a he, but Mom's getting tired. She gets up every now and then. Mom gets tired. She gets up and moves around still a little bit. We had to unload the cattle trailer because we had hauled home some lumber in it. We've got to get a steer loaded, and it's nearly dark, so we're just going to kind of let her be at it. She's kind of making the best progress when we kind of leave her alone, just check on her a little bit. So I'm going to go down there and do some work. This has been about 60 minutes since the front feet were born. It says that on a heifer that it can take, 2 to 8 hours for birthing, and it seems to me that what I had read online, it says if you let them wait without pulling the calf at 2 hours, it can be too long. So I'm gonna stay close here and keep an eye on what's going on, because it seems to me about 90 minutes or so something should be happening. So I watched her for a while, and it was taking a little too long, so we helped pull her. And the way we do it, there was no time to show you guys. We double wrapped her front hooves that were out. I didn't like that her tongue was out of her mouth for that long. And they say at like the 2-hour mark, you can actually lose your calf to stillbirth. So we wrapped her up with a lead harness, and he gave her a good pull in between contractions and paused and waited and let her do the rest. And once the head was born, she did great. She was born at 6:57 or 6:47. So just right at the cusp of dark. He hooked up a light here so that we can see her and so that she can see her. She is mooing and swishing her tail and licking her, cleaning her up and drying her. And all the other cows were over here to come and see what had happened. And if you caught that, I said her. It's a girl calf, which is just terrific. That means growing the farm. Oh, look at her. She's already trying to get up. It's been like a half an hour since she's been born. trying real hard. Getting her. Look what I got. So it is 7 in the morning. We went in the house at about 7:30 last night and had our dinner and came back out, and the little calf was already up trying to walk around, and we had to cover her water with the pallet. She actually stumbled into it, and we had to pull her out, get her dried off again. Yeah. And it got cold last night. My father-in-law said it was getting down to about 10 degrees. So it was really great that we had the calf blanket on hand. And we cinched it all up to her body size. She's just the tiniest thing. The chest strap had to be taken in about 4 or 5 inches from the last calf who wore it. And I did the same thing with there's a chest strap. And then it wraps around the legs right there. And they can get poopy from laying it and everything. It's all washable. It's not a huge deal. But I think I can actually take those leg ones up a little bit. She had kind of walked her back legs out of it this morning because I didn't have it adjusted. Look at her. She's a champ. When my husband was up this morning, he said that she was nudging her chest, trying to figure out where to get it. She's just kind of looking at it right now, but she knows. Yep. That's where it's at, little girl. Mom doesn't know about it. I've always had to go through that with them. I think when they're first learning, I know it can be uncomfortable, can't it? She needs ya. She's learning. She'll make you feel better and take that pressure off. Oh, how great. You just need to stay in one spot and drink your milk. Or drink your water. Let her drink her milk. There you go. Yeah. Well, he's getting hay for everybody. All the rest of the herd came through the lines because they weren't electrified during the night, and stumbled through them when we came out at like 8 to check on her. Her mom was out here, her grandma, checking it all out. It's just great. It's just great to have new life, even in these cold, cold conditions. Yeah. Chitty. messing around. Oh, the other cows are laying around this morning. Nobody wants to get up and get going. You lost it. Occasionally a load will fall off the sled. Got him helping me out this morning so I can help out the calf. Look at that thing go. We've been getting a whole fresh layer of snow for overnight and today, and it's just the lightest. I don't know if you're actually able to see it or not. There's no wind of all times for a little baby girl to be born. He's going off to take that steer to the meat processing. Going up to McConnell's in Rosebush. Okay, get in there, Mom. Yeah, I think I could tighten up that back leg a little bit. You want it snug fitting to them so that it's having more material against their body to keep them warm. Where if it's too loose fitting, that could be even further up on her chest, I think. You see how her neck is kind of sticking up by her neck. They make these coats different sizes for different kinds, different breeds of calves. And I think we went to a small, and there was an extra small. Like if you had little skinny Jersey calves. Some mornings are just all kinds of exciting. So he's heading out. Look at that Suburban pull that trailer. That's a H&S livestock trailer. And we've just kind of taken it over from my father-in-law. So off he goes to go take that into the market. We'll see him later today. Remember, if you have a property and you want it truly no trespassing, close your gate. No, I'm not expecting anybody. Nobody's invited. You can close it up just like that. We keep a chain with a lock right on it. Most people aren't going to bother to get out to push a gate open, but if it's locked, that's really telling them. And like you can see, there's the house right up there. Most people don't even really realize that there's a house here, especially if they come early or dark, because all of this tree line blocks it and the buildings are all up here. So this is what I look like out in the cold at 7 in the morning. I'll tell you, I got my pajamas on. I have known to come out in the summertime in my pajamas and do all of my farm work. You come out to check on something and you end up doing 10 more things. But I was smart. I threw my coat and bibs on at least. So I'm gonna go get my coffee and get my day going. All the kids are sound asleep. And while I was checking on that baby calf, I noticed this little girl. She's probably kindergarten age. Standing out by the road with her mom. Playing out in the yard, waiting for the bus to come. My kids are gonna be sleeping for 2 more hours probably. So I'm gonna go get a head start on my dishes and laundry. Always, I sit and enjoy my first cup of coffee for the day. Okay, so I came out to check on baby. I had gone in for lunch and ran some errands, and we made her a little calf hut out of a bunch of hay bales. All the other cows were on the other side. They were doing fine. This morning, the grandma to the calf was over here because she wanted to be over with her little baby, who is now the mother, and hanging out. See, she's sticking her head through right now because it's not on. So I'm going to go turn this on. She's getting, hey, come on, get. So I real quick ran and grabbed this T-post. It's been way below freezing, but a couple days ago it was warm. It just keeps going back and forth, freeze and thaw. So totally jumping his gate again. So they were coming over here. I switched her to just a small bowl of water that holds 5 gallons to keep her happy and keep the baby from falling in. But I've been switching around some larger water tanks to make sure that everyone has what they need. I've got another one in the barn that's kind of buried. You need a lot of water to keep those big ones going. You gotta have water even in the cold weather for these cows. They'll cross an electric fence. They know it's off right now. She was sticking her head through there. See here? I've got all these bulls and steers lining up on that center dividing. So Chocolate's just kind of stand and watch. And I don't know if he'd rather go over to the other side or stay where he's at. Flower has been sure happy having him where he's at, but that diesel bull, he is a 1.5 years old. When she was having the baby, was trying to mount her because of the scent, and he's just got to be away because she still has the afterbirth and a little bit of healing to do. So whew, exciting day. This has been going on. I am so stinking exhausted. I think I got about 5 hours of sleep last night, and I'd gotten up real early too. So I'm trying to run an extension cord now for this stock tank because we just use it when we know it's going to be a thaw because it's cracked halfway up. So it's not that it's going to hold a lot of water, but it'll keep the calf from falling in it. And it's too much of an ice block to switch it to the larger cows right now. Chaos. Chaos happens when you're not exactly prepared. So I've got the hose out. He's back from delivering that steer this morning, and he's off to do a little bit of job work while I take care of this. But the little calf hut, they all came in here to steal the hay from it. We had a wood roof over the top, and if they dropped it on top of her, she could be trapped in there or hurt. So they got to stay out. So I'm going to plug in this electric fence and keep them out of there. I was able to get that T-post in, which is just stinking awesome. And I just did a shorter, like 7-foot one, just enough to support that bottom wire so that it wasn't sagging so much in between. They're large enough that they won't try to go through the paws. My only concern is that the little calf would stumble into it, not having a lower wire, but I don't know about jumping multiples. I'd have to put in another one of these ceramic insulators at different heights. I'll show you. See, right now we've got an insulator here and down there, but I could move one here and put a lower one down and jump in from the other side because I've got 3 wires on the opposite side. So that would work as far as keeping them more out. I'm just a hot mess today, I'll tell you. So now that he's back and this is about done, there's always dirt roads to be taken. I can clean up the bus while I've got the hose out and get him and get that bus parked back in the garage, salt free from the Michigan dirty salt roads. So thanks for watching, everybody. Wish us luck, and we'll see you next time. Remember to hit that like button. It always helps the channel to grow, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.